Yo, what's going on? It's the NRW, where nerds rule the world. It's your boy, Cool P, the Adobo, the Babinka boy, leader of the Holla Holla Homies in the Center Gang of the Show Pal Show. I got another great interview for you all. As y'all know, I've been covering Army of the Dead with the Nerds of Color. And, we've had a lot of fun talking to Zack Snyder, Dave Bautista, Amari Hardwick, Ana de la Reguera, just the whole cast, Ella Purnell, Matthias Schwartz. I'm gonna mess up his name, so I'm not even gonna try. But it's been fun. We had a lot of fun, and it's a great film. And thankfully enough, I found out that one of my boys, who I've known for a minute, known him as a cosplayer, and then saw that this dude has lived a life. And you see him on the screen now. He kind of looks like Vin Diesel because he's played parts of Vin Diesel for a little bit here and there. He's been a security guard, a stuntman, a little bit of everything, man. It's amazing to see this guy's growth and knowing some of his story from the socials, man. I've always wanted to learn more about this cat because I just found him one of the most intriguing cats that I know. And but we never really sat down, so I'm really looking forward to this. Mad love, air horns for my boy Les Price. What's good, Les? Boom.
What's good, man? I'm honored to be on the show.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to have you here, bro. Like I said, man, I've been admiring you from afar, brother. You know what I'm saying? We meet and we hang out at shows and cons, but sometimes you never really get to chat out because we're trying to make moves. We're doing things. You know what I'm saying? You as a cosplayer, you got to shoot. You know what I'm saying? You're a busy man. So we kind of learn each other through the social network. And so I've seen a lot of your posts, enjoyed a lot of your memes. You're a meme lord. You know, if that's even what they call it. I don't know. I'm too old. You know, I don't know what the young kids call it, but you
post a new name for it next week.
You post some amazing memes, man. But I love that you share your story because it helps people feel seen and connected. And knowing some of what I know of your story, man, I really admire it, man. And then just your growth and just like you see people, even though you don't talk to them, you see how people grow and they build. And with all that, even though you throw the comedy in there, man, there's a measure of love and inspiration there that with people that follow you, they see that, man. So I'm proud of you, bro. I love seeing you build, and I'm gonna cheer you on as you keep on moving onward this journey, man. So let's start from the beginning, brother. Like I said, I want to learn and maybe even pick up some stuff I don't know. I'd like to start from the seed. Let's talk about your parents, man, because to me, we as people are the personification of the love that they had and that they built and that we are growing now and becoming the flower that they planted. So that's why I like to say the seed. So let's talk about your parents and how they came together and how they brought you into the world.
All right, buckle your seatbelts. This is a wild ride. So both of my biological parents are both openly gay, and they both were best friends for 30 years, and they wanted to have a kid. My mother is a Italian lesbian, born in South Philly. She runs Diversity of Pride, it's a pride organization, so she throws a gay pride parade and festival for the whole community in Philadelphia. And my father is actually one of the first ever Black drag queens in America. So, as you can imagine, it's already like a crazy story. Most people don't even believe me when I say it at the time, but I'm like, why would somebody make that up? They both were best friends. My dad had a big show out in Vegas in the 70s. We opened up for Elvis, Lucille Ball, and all these other people. And after a while, when my mom and him were on the road, they were best friends. They realized they could never have kids, with their partners, or just because how life is. And they decided, like, hey, we'll have a kid together. And bam, here I am.
I love it, man. It's to me so beautiful. And like, dude, you're an actor, and I'm a filmmaker, man, and I'm jumping back into acting. Like, your story is so amazing. We're gonna dig more into it. Like, I need to see this in a film because I just think it's beautiful. Because especially now that, like you said, no one will believe it if you told it to somebody. You know what I'm saying? When you tell your story, they don't understand. And to me, that's what's so beautiful about it. That as you people think it's like a unicorn, there's a lot of these stories that are out there. You know what I'm saying? You're really not alone, Les. You know what I'm saying? And people are afraid to share that. And so that's why I love that you are proud in yourself and you're proud about your parents and you're not afraid to share that because it's important. And we all deserve love.
I gotta say on my end, like I love both my parents to death. They were most supportive in all my endeavors. But as a kid, I actually, the whole concept of being raised by a village. I actually was raised in a very eclectic group of people that were of all walks of life, and they helped my parents. I had many aunts and uncles, and they were, of course, LGBTQ, and they had all kinds of crazy backgrounds. Everything from being one of my godfather's a famous jeweler who throws these giant costume balls, which is actually how I got into costumes. And yes, celebrities there as judges every year in Philadelphia. It's called Henry David Halloween Ball. And my mom's other best friend is actually a Japanese guy by the name of Satoshi, who got me into Aikido and Judo and got me into watching Jackie Chan films and martial arts. So like, a lot of people were like, "How do you have so many things going on?" Or "How you like? Are you doing everything at once?" It's just like I had a lot of people influence me, and when your parents are, I say, public names, you kind of want to step outside the box and make a name for yourself and kind of show people, "Hey, I got my own thing going too."
Yeah, that's why I think so amazing. Why your story is so beautiful. Like I would love your youth. Like that so sounds so fascinating. Like I would have loved that. So what would your parents tell us between baby less to 10? And were you born less or is less short for something else?
Yeah, my father's name's actually Les too. So yeah, it's just Les.
Okay.
Through 1 through 10, whew, I was a handful. When I wasn't in school, I almost was always surrounded by adults, so obviously I absorbed a lot, and I had a lot to say, but I was like a smart mouth kid. I pushed the envelope, but just enough not to get in trouble or let anybody
Love it. Love it. So during those times, those early development child times. So were you because I would hope that because you're already surrounded by love, but there's also still outside of that, thankfully you had that village, there's still discrimination that's occurring.
know. Indeed,
When did you
yeah.
first experience discrimination? Did you experience it in that time, and how did you handle it, and were you armed with that because of the amazing village that you had?
Unfortunately, I grew up during the AIDS epidemic in Philadelphia, which was booming in the 80s and 90s. So I saw maybe 20, 30 people who were close family friends pass away before I was even 15 years old. But ever since I was born, my parents they didn't wait till I was a certain age and explain to me their situation. They were very open with it, and everyone around me. So I think just being able to see everyone be their true selves and not hold back, and that they were in an area where they could be themselves, it made me kind of say, well, like if these people can stand up to people's shit, whatever excuse do I have to like bitch out part of my French, or take anybody's crap. And I more so noticed it happening to other people I cared about, and I was too young to be able to do anything and watch it. And then, in school, of course, the first thing they talk about is your parents. So my dad being a black drag queen, and he's not afraid. He doesn't dress in drag when he's coming to pick me up from school, but people still talking kids know. And my mom, wear flannel shirts and Timbs before that was even a thing. So my dad's thing was you're biracial and we're gay, so you're going to need to know how to protect yourself. So they got me into martial arts early on. My dad taught me how to box, and I would say I definitely made my rounds to a few different high schools because some issues. I had good grades, but also it was like my dad was the type of person that if you come home with a black eye, you're gonna get a black eye. You need to stand up for yourself. So I just didn't take any shit.
Awesome. Okay. So they supported. So if you got into something, they understood because of with
My
everything.
dad was more of
Yeah.
like, I mean, obviously being a black man and then being a drag queen in the 60s and
Yeah.
70s. On top of it, he dealt with all kinds of. He used to walk in
Yeah.
town because he couldn't catch a cab to perform, and then still deal with gay white guys that were
Yeah.
prejudiced and shit like that. But my mother, she was a little bit more old fashioned. Where she's like, you should go tell a teacher. But after a while, she kind of realized the times have changed and things don't fly like that.
Yeah. All right, man. Nah, that's beautiful, man. I love that there's so much love there and understanding, man. But did you have any self-hate? Because even though we're built strong sometimes, when we have that, thankfully you had that. Were you ever upset with yourself? Was there a moment that you like dad or mom this, or did you just stay strong?
Uh, I mean, I definitely like had my own trials and tribulations, and I've always felt strong like sense of worth in myself. But I think one of the main things I thought was weird when I was younger is even when I was real little, before even like dating and stuff. Remember, school kids would say I was gay because my parents were gay, and I always just thought that was like I never like when you're young, you first hear that you're like, why am I being
Yeah.
associated or why are people assuming? And I got to high school and I just realized I'm like the whole saying what you eat doesn't make you fat. It doesn't matter. Like you can think whatever you want, but I'm just living my life.
There you go. I love it. That's awesome, man. So let's get into middle school, high school years. So with all these different passions in this amazing village, what were some of the things that you got into that maybe would be glimpses of what you'd get into later on in life?
Uh, I was obsessed with jumping off of my friends' many different row home houses and playing basketball and martial arts. And I mean, I literally probably watched 3 or 4 kung fu movies a day. I was just like obsessed
Okay.
with kung fu, comic, all the norm. But in high school, I ran track, played
Okay.
basketball. I was weird though. I had a couple friends I was real close with in high school, but for the most part, I really liked the environment I was in. Outside of that, there were so many of these like really amazing adults. I had friends who went to arts. I had friends who, like I said, did jewelry. Friends who actually were like performing in Broadway, and they all were constantly in this small little community. So I just was more like with I'm just gonna sit back and absorb all this because I'll be able to use parts of that later on in life.
Yeah. So what would you say were some of the first lessons you learned that you took from them, and that we can impart to people that are watching you right now from this interview, that you could say to them at this point in your life?
If you want anything, and especially in entertainment industry, you gotta attack like an octopus. Different angles, just keep trying and trying. One gets smacked away, you put another arm in, so something works. And most people will just give up after a few arms just smacked away, but you just gotta keep going at it. I've I've been executive security for celebrities. I've been an extra. I've been a stuntman. I've been an actor. I've done voice acting, and none of them all came at once. It was like, oh, travel it here, and eventually
Yeah.
it all just kind of came together.
So let's talk about what was the first thing that came about. What was the first hustle? So like out of school or even during school, that you got into that was uh, echoes for later on. So what was like the first thing you did, like that you got set up? Like, were you dancing? Because
Uh,
aren't you a dancer too? Like didn't you?
I mean, I know do a little pop lock
Yeah,
in here and there.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because
I
Vin
wouldn't say I'm
Diesel, man,
professional,
he
but I still
started
got
as a
some moves.
dancer. Vin wasn't he in Breaking? No, he wasn't in Breaking. He was in one of them
I think
jokers.
he's like Big Daddy Kane's nephew, but yeah, I seen the video with him and they
Yeah,
cousin are pop locking.
yeah.
I think I could take him now though.
So what came first? What was like the first hustle that you were doing, and
Uh,
creatively?
for me, I was really like I had a friend who taught Wing Chun, and then when right out of high school, I was a personal trainer. So I was basically personal training during the day, and then going to this guy like 3 or 4 hours a night. And then I had other friends who were in MMA, so then we would take turns. I go over their houses and we roll, certain nights to spar.
So
And I really got into that. And around like 20, Fast and the Furious comes out, and I'm at the movies with my friends, and they're like looking at me, and they're looking at the screen, and looking at me, looking at, and they're like, "You're in a movie." Anyway, at this point, he had been in like 1 or 2 other movies, Vin Diesel, and I'm like, I never heard of this guy. So next thing you know, literally for the next like 6 or 7 years of my life, I can't go anywhere without being stopped on the street, in restaurants giving free meals. People ask them to call their moms or their friends. It doesn't help that I have a deep voice too. So, but somewhere in the midst of personal training, I was kind of getting bored with the whole scene because there's a lot of prima donnas. It's very clicky, a lot like the cosplay community.
yeah,
Uh, so I was like, let me try out some acting. So I started doing little things here and there, and I noticed that no matter how many different things I went to, unfortunately, I either got typecasted or they wouldn't cast me because I looked so much like Vin Diesel. And this is, I mean, we're talking like mid early 2000s, so he's like
yeah,
in his prime, a lot younger. And after a while, it was a little bit of a like, oh damn, what am I gonna do? Like everything, I'm like, it's different. Like we have completely different skill sets. He does this, and I do that.
yeah.
Um, and then after a while, I got into. I had been a bouncer for a while as well, and my mom's events at Gay Pride, they actually have celebrities every year. So I started doing securities for them. And after a few years, I actually got certified in executive security. So I worked for a private security firm. Next, I'm doing stuff with different celebrities, and they're like, "Man, you got a great personality. You have a great look. Why don't you get into film?" I'm like, "I'm trying."
Yeah.
And after a while, and I just thought about it more and more. And I have 2 good friends of mine. One's a stunt coordinator, worked on Guardians of the Galaxy, Punisher, a bunch of other things, and another good friend of mine who's a stuntman, and they're both pretty well known. And they're like, "Man, Atlanta is booming. You should come down to Atlanta for things. You should try to be a stuntman. So like you're biracial. You can literally be half the people on film nowadays.
Hell
As a
yeah.
stuntman, it'll go from not being able to get casted to getting casted all the time."
Yeah.
So a few years ago, I took that journey, and next you know, I'm getting gigs left and right up until last year, obviously, and it
Yeah.
was a pause. So looking forward to this year.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man. I gotta say, out of all the cats I've met, man, I met you in the cosplay world doing your thing. And so yeah, I can see how, like, of course, like, bro, you look like you was solid, bro. You was freaking Xerxes, if that's how I'm saying it right, from 300. I'm like, yeah, this brother, he put some work in the gym. So one could assume brother doing other shit. So yeah, you got in. So now it all makes sense. MMA getting the security stuff happening. Yeah, bro, and you got the look. You do got the look, man. You're a good looking cat. I can respect that. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man. So it makes sense, and you get into all this.
So
So, did you take any acting classes? So now that you're grinding hard in this, what are you doing to develop your craft? So like, you got the look, you got the body. You know what I'm saying? You got the charisma. You know what I'm saying? So how has this journey been into further getting into the craft? And how what do you see going forward is with it?
I've been practicing impressions since I was a little kid. I literally do them constantly. I put out videos on my TikTok and Instagram and whatnot. I have a friend, John Bailey. I'm sure you probably heard of him before,
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
big
know
voice
John.
guy. Where we've done some collabos and whatnot, and he's been like egging me more in the past couple of years to pursue the voice acting more. So I'm definitely looking to get into that more. I actually did some recently in this film I was in called Alpha Rift, which coincidentally comes out this year, and I'm also a zombie minion. It
Yeah,
has
we're gonna
Lance
promote that. We're
Henriksen.
gonna promote that. We're gonna get into that in a second.
It's
Yeah.
a D&D like fanboy movie, so it's actually pretty cool. It's
Okay.
filmed in Philadelphia. It's supposed to come out later this year. Uh, but yeah, like for me, the weirdest thing I think is trying to find a balance because like I feel myself drawn everywhere. Like I want to act, I want to do stunts, I want to do voiceover, I
Yeah.
want to do commercials. I mean, anything I can get into, I just want to pursue it to the fullest.
Yeah.
So I actually now I have a show. My friend has a channel called Horror Punks USA TV. That my friend is a stunt coordinator, and it's basically a horror punk scene. Anything does with horror movies, films, and music. And
Okay.
I do film reviews on there. My other alter ego, Throb Zombie.
Rob Zombie. Yeah.
Throb
Okay.
Zombie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So you're just going with the flow, it seems, and building and learning through the experience from what I gather, right? Okay, man. So you're killing it. So you started booking a bunch of projects, man. I think the first film that I saw that you had booked was like a prison joint with like Kane Hodder was in that. Was that your first joint, or what was there something before that?
I worked. I was a bodyguard on Elementary, like the
Okay,
year prior, like
okay.
in the first season. But yeah, it was a Death House.
Death House. So
Yeah.
let's talk about those experiences, man. So like these first times booking these kind of roles. So like we as we were talking about earlier, you know what I'm saying, you kind of fell into it in a way. You know what I'm saying? You were doing the security work. People were like, "Yeah, man, you got the charisma, you got the look. Go down to Atlanta." Let's talk about, finally jumping into it and booking these roles, whether it be background or stunt work or whatever. Just that learning and that growth from there. So first experience, you said elementary.
So got hit up by a casting company saying looking for guy, looking type, and of course, I fit the stereotype. So get it, but I'm like, hey, you still got to put in the groundwork,
Yeah.
unless you put yourself out there. So I do that fun experience with everyone on set. Wound up only being there for 2 days, but I worked with Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu, and Johnny Miller was a complete class act, and Lucy Liu was interesting to work with. Um, but that was fun. And then after that, it was funny. My friend who was living in Atlanta at the time, he was from Philadelphia originally, was a stunt coordinator. And he's like, man, I just booked this gig back in Philly. He's like, doing this prison movie that has every horror legend that's ever been in like the past 30 years. He's like, would you be interested in being in it? He was like, they want guys who can do, parkour or have fight choreo or whatever, but, or tat it and look like an asshole, basically. So I'm just like, sure. So I'm like, it's in my hometown. I'm like, I get
Yeah.
that horror movie, so I get to see all these legends I grew up with. And I went and we worked in this prison, which the conditions were insane. It was a Holmesburg prison, which has been closed for like 30 years. They did psychological experiments, Agent Orange. The government found out basically they were testing on people in real life
Oh
for
shit.
over 20 years and shut it down, but they left everything as is.
Mm. Wow.
So they basically, when they filmed, they didn't really clean because they still wanted to look like a prison. So they just kind of added to it. So, we're running around and in between having masks on. But I mean, to work with Dee Wallace, to do stunts with Kane Hodder, I mean, these are all like horror, I consider horror gods that I looked up to. And just to be on set and see how humble and down to earth they were, that to me, I thought that was really awesome. I will say the people I've been acting, at least as far as the horror community, they're a lot more down to earth.
Oh no, I feel that. There's definitely a different sense of community that I found in dealing with horror projects. I'm with you on that, man. So it seems like the bug infected you with that project. So like you had it a little bit, but then to work with those legends, I would assume it really, you were like, yeah, this is what I want to do, huh?
It was really unexpected because in the middle of filming, the director comes in and he's like, he just picks me. He's like, I want to use you for this scene I'm about to do. And I'm like, okay. And it's a very racy scene where I basically grab this woman who's an agent, put her against the wall and attempt to go at her.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh great. He's like, I want you to be like aliens and you're in space and you haven't seen anyone in 10 years. And I'm just like, all right, well, this is my moment. I gotta go for it, like
Yeah.
Oz left, and it was weird. The scene was only like 20 seconds long in the movie, but somehow or another, before the movie came out, all these horror celebrities on it, yet they kept showing that picture of me in all the advertisements. So next, people start reaching out, hey, I'm doing a horror movie, I'm doing an indie movie. So I kind of started making a little name in the horror world, getting booked in sci-fi and horror films, and I'm completely okay with that.
Hell yeah, man. No, I remember that. And I remember that particular scene and picture, man. It was killer, dog. You got the charisma and you got the look, bro. Like
I was tapping into my inner venom.
is everything as you know in this medium, bro. So man, cheers and bravo to you on that, man. That's amazing, man. I dig that. So that amazing experience goes down. Are you going back? Go ahead, bro.
So I thought this was funny. So a year prior to that, I saw you at Baltimore Comic Con.
Yeah.
Receive, right? Never would I thought that 6-7 years later, I get handpicked by Zack Snyder to be a zombie in his movie.
Hell yes. Look at God work, man. Look at the world work. I love that.
And it goes a step further. As you can imagine, the zombies, you went through intense makeup throughout all the filming. The first day I get there, it was one of the most amazing setups I've ever seen on film for like makeup. They were not taking any chances. They're like, this is gonna be legit, Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But I walk into this trailer and I sit down and these two guys are walking me and I see they got all these horror logos, things that they're into. And so we're their horror buffs too. And we start talking about horror. And they're like, oh yeah, like, have you been in the industry long? I'm like, oh, a couple years. And then I start showing them pics and I show them a picture of my Xerxes. And they're like, you did this? And I'm like, yeah, me and my ex did the makeup for this. And they're like, we did the makeup for Xerxes in the movie. They're like, this is amazing. So the two guys who did Xerxes makeup, who actually worked on Swamp Thing, they're from Fractured Effect. They're doing my makeup, and I'm in the chair like having the biggest fanboy moment, losing my shit.
Hell yeah, dog! That's awesome.
It's funny how that comes full circle, man.
Exactly. Ah, shit, I love that type of shit. That's amazing, man. I love that. That's fucking dope. So you got handpicked, but how did you land it originally? Like, how did you get involved with Army of the Dead?
It's funny. I started seeing different advertisements where they were saying they were looking for certain types of zombies, zombie strippers, regular zombies, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh man, I'm like, well, they're probably using their stunt team. I'm East Coast, that's West Coast. I'm like, how am I good about this? And every once in a while they had a core stunt team, but because there were so many zombies and so many different types, they had to bring more on just because they have to swap out constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So next thing you know, from the casting company, I get a message. It's like, Zack Snyder looked at your profile. He hand selected you as Alpha Zombie. Will you come for Alpha Zombie training? So I'm like,
fuck yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to mention that we had for anyone who's wondering about us fast zombies, we had training, so it was serious.
Hell yeah! There's a different kind of So full disclosure, I've seen the movie a couple times already. Because I interviewed the rest of the cast, and there's a different kind of zombie in this film, man. That's gonna blow people's minds. It's a lot different than what people know of the zombie genre. Zach created something special here, so can't wait for the world to see it. So, man, a key scene that you can be seeing it without spoiling the film, and I also point out because I think some of the snippets were in trailers, and you can see some of it online. But you got to go toe to toe with Dave Bautista, man. What was it like working with Dave? Without, this ain't spoiling the film at all, but just,
He's I would just say
camaraderie
super
there.
humble and down to earth. Surprisingly, a lot of I would say actors with that type of stature aren't always as humble, but he's just a real cool cat. He loves to stun people. He loves talking to people on set, and I was really impressed with his work ethic.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, for a big dude, the man can move like that.
Yeah, I would say
don't get him messed up.
I would say the operative word that people like to use in regards to bigger cats like yourself, man. You're gentle giants, and he's definitely a gentle giant, man. Going back to being a zombie, man. I've always wanted to play a zombie. I've played a zombie in a cable access show that instead of blood, because it was cable access, I loved candy. So that's what I feasted on.
Nice.
It was weird. I was in green makeup, black eyeshadow and all that stuff, and was feasting on candy. But what was it like seeing the zombified version of you? And like you said earlier, you're painted up by the same people that worked on Xerxes on 300. Now they're doing your makeup. What was it like being a zombie, bro? Like getting into that?
So, I mean, I don't think anyone was expecting the process that we went through to become zombies. I've worked on other horror films. I've done some stuff with Trauma. I've worked with a few independent film companies, and in general, my ex was a professional makeup artist, and my godfather has done professional costuming for like celebrities for over the past 40 years. So I've seen my fair share of stuff, but the process was amazing. Like I felt like we were in a zombie processing plant. Like it wasn't like just one person sat there and do it. You got your base coat of your skin. You went in another room. Someone else did your veins. Other people did your prosthetics. Somebody else came along and did your blood. Then there was somebody else there constantly touching you up. But it was very straining being a zombie, just because there's a lot of wait time in between when we're often on set or before they set up. So it's trying not to lean certain ways so your makeup isn't on the wall. But I was actually pretty impressed with, like I was saying, the zombie training was really fun. Spider, who's the general in the film, was the person who did the zombie training. And I mean, several days, they wanted to make sure people knew what they were doing, or they just weren't walking like they wanted us to look fierce and intense and like we could jump at a moment's notice. I actually had a lot of fun with that. I mean, there were other people so some people I felt like weren't as athletic or weren't expecting that, and they were like, "Wait, we have to actually move," But I was looking forward to it. I was like, as crazy as I could be on camera, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The zombies in Army of the Dead could fuck up, like, say, your 28 Days Later zombies, like, or your World War Z zombies. I'll say it. I'll put it out there, and because I'm a zombie head, man, and y'all was killing it, man. Y'all are something in Army of the Dead, man. So an amazing experience, I would assume, for you, man. What other projects what's that behind you? You said you also have another project dropping that's coming up that we can talk a little bit more about.
That's from Willy's Wonderland. I actually left it on my
okay
from a previous video I was doing.
Yeah, I want to see that.
So Alpha Rift is it's a movie about a boy who basically, back in time, sort of like, it's a little bit of Highlander, it's a little bit of D&D, but basically he owns a comic book shop and he plays D&D every day. And he gets this helmet and finds out his great-great-grandfather. When he puts the helmet on, he sees that all of his grandfathers protected the world from these 5 different evils. And so every time one's selected, they have to go around, and he basically starts getting these powers, and he doesn't want to be in this situation at all. And his mentor is Lance Hendrickson, who's Bishop in Alien.
Yeah.
There's I think Taylor Maine, who played Sabretooth, is also in it as well. But we filmed it in Philadelphia and New Jersey, and the main bad guy, I'm actually his lead minion. He kind of turns us all into minions. So it's just funny. I actually did that right before I did Army of the Dead, but it's coming out after Army of the Dead.
That's how sometimes these films work, man, and all that. That's dope. I like that. I'm gonna look for it. So you said the Rift?
Alpha Rift.
Alpha Rift. Okay. Definitely gonna cop that one, man. Definitely gonna check that one out, man. Yo, so are you now? You were saying you were earlier, because I know you're in Philly, but then you went to Atlanta. So are you stay in Philly? So just the Atlanta was just like a couple months or whatever. So, but you're still Philly.
Just to basically go down there and get some training and see that, because there's a huge stunt community down there.
Okay, so you still go back and forth for work?
I haven't been down to Atlanta in the past couple of years with the pandemic and
Oh,
everything.
okay,
I
got
mainly
it.
been working,
Yeah,
DC, Philly, New Jersey, New York.
yeah.
Keep it in the tri-state for the most part.
Yeah, but post pandemic, because my man, like I already know, you gonna blow up, man. You're gonna keep it moving. I can see why all these people are in your head, and I would have been in your head too if I was yo. I'm your manager. Hey, you got to put this work in. You need to be here because you got the charisma, you got the look, and you're only gonna grow from here, man. And you love to see it, bro. So we got the Alpha Rift. What more can we talk on and promote? And or what do you want to do? What project
Well, since
is
since there's Nerds of Color, I might as well touch on this.
yeah.
Actually, right before I did Army of the Dead, I was Officer Johnson's stunt double in the whole entire Meek Mill's Free Meek series. It was produced by Jay-Z and Spike Lee.
Oh, dope.
And that's about, I mean, a lot of everyone has issues with Meek Mills. I would say the reason to watch this is if you're a person of color, it's about prison reform. And it also shows how corrupt our judicial system is. And basically shows what they, I mean, I'm not really that much of a fan of his music, but I will say what happened to him was just.
Oh no, yeah, I'm with you on that.
So basically, these two corrupt agents were following him when he was younger, when he first started selling mixtapes, starting to blow up. He had a piece on him. They stopped him. He put the piece up. They beat him up, handcuffed him. They took him into the house. They found X amount of money, didn't give any of it away. So they basically show that these two cops that they kept giving Meek Mill's trial after trial and sentence after sentence, but really these guys are basically like Denzel Washington Training Day. And it was real enlightening because we filmed it on his block in the actual house, and they used the neighbors. They agreed to be background, which you can imagine with police there, and then refilming a scene like that was intense.
Yeah.
But I really think it got the message across because a lot of people I know were hyping it up and basically like seeing what's going on in our own system of Philly, from judges to dark cops. And
yeah, we gotta put the light
that's
on
on
that.
Amazon.
Okay, yeah, definitely gonna check that out, man. Got to put light on subjects like that, man. That people want to keep hidden, man, and it's important. So yeah, I like I said, man, we're gonna promote Alpha Rift, Army of the Dead. You already know. We gonna see that, man. What roles are you looking for down the line? Who do you want to work with, man? Like let's put this into the ether and the universe, man. Let's speak it into existence. What does Les want to do, man? What do we want to see going forward, bro? What you trying to do?
I would like to be Absorbing Man in some form of the new Marvel Universe.
Yes,
phase
bitch.
4, phase 5.
And the reason I say yes, bitch, is because Les has done Absorbing Man in cosplay at many shows. My boy kills it, bruh. I can see that, bro. Like we need to have that happen, man. Like you got it. You fucking Absorbing Man. You the comic version. We did see him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., didn't we? They did have him in the MCU a little bit, but he wasn't fucking Les though. It wasn't you.
Full on, that's right. Full on featured villain. Like,
hell yeah. There's no reason for it to
not hammer, you name it, whatever I gotta use.
There we go. So definitely Marvel character.
Another thing, yeah, for sure. Okay. And I'm just also looking to pursue more stuff in horror. I actually have I'm actually gonna do a couple horror conventions this summer for obvious reasons. Okay. Which will be interesting being on the other side of that, from being, a cosplay guest to now being somebody who's like, oh, hey, I was in the movie.
Yeah.
So that itself is humbling and kind of cool to think about.
Hell yeah.
But one of the things I'm actually excited about, and it's weird, like I could work on big multi-million-dollar productions or little productions, and depending on what it is, I'm just as happy. So right before we did Army of the Dead, actually filmed the trailer for Kabuki Man Returns, which is the sequel to Kabuki Man from Trauma.
Okay.
And in that, so we're basically setting up during the next year, they're going to get ready to film the Kabuki Man Returns film for Trauma after the Toxic Avenger movie release. And in that, I got to play Dr. Killamoff for the Toxic Crusaders. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is that on this movie, I'm actually going to get to be the live embodiment of Dr. Killamoff. Because, I mean, that cartoon when I was a kid was everything.
Hell yeah. I love it, man. And I love the Trauma films, man. The talking about indie classics, but heart, you know what I'm saying? And just fun. Trauma is it, man. Shout out to Trauma, man. And bruh.
They're a cool little family, man.
Hell yeah. I dig it, man. Les, man. I really appreciate, man, you talking with me again, man. We really haven't sat down as much because shit, we haven't had cons and shows in a minute. How has the pandemic been for you? And because you had to chill out, did that just kind of help you regain focus in a way? Like, what were you doing during this pandemic time?
Uh, it was weird. It kind of went through phases. I mean, I'm sure like everyone, there's parts where I was like, the year before, I literally worked on 12 different projects from
Yeah,
TV to film. So I'm like, oh, and as you know, you work at stunts or film, everything you come out of prison is what the next thing you're going to work on. So I'm like, oh man, 2020, man, all these films are coming out. I'm about to blow up. Then everything got delayed, put back. Army, in fact, Army of Dead actually was supposed to come out last
yeah,
year, as well as a couple other things I worked on. But then we went through the summer, which was brutal to watch, especially being in Philadelphia, and I live downtown. And between that and just seeing a lot of people in the world I was not expecting to show their true selves and fight down on it. Not even like it's
yeah.
like, oh, I made a mistake. Like just, oh, I'm like, oh, you want to die on that ship? So that was a little rough. And then unfortunately, my father had surgery in the middle of the summer, which then led to him unfortunately passing away in August. So I'm not gonna lie, I went through some stuff. Obviously after that and during the holidays. But I turned 40 in December, and on my birthday, I said, "Look, Sylvester Stallone was 40 years old when he did Rambo 3 and when he did Rocky 4.
Hell yeah.
Like I haven't worked out the way I have in the past few months. I'm like, I'm gonna go crazy, do this workout, and do this for the next few months, and then never look back and just use that as my drive and realize that next year is going to be different."
Hell yeah. Dog, and it will, man. And again, rest in peace to your father, man. He, from everything I saw and everything you've shared, man, he was an amazing man and a beautiful soul, man. So
And he
definitely,
loved it.
man.
He loved zombie movies, which was
Hell yeah. So he's shining, looking down at it, watching it right now with you, bro. Yeah, man, that's beautiful, bro. Again, man, again, it's been amazing knowing you, seeing your journey, seeing you developed. No, from afar, man, cats that have certain kind of potential. And and I've mixed it up, producer hat, publisher hat, you've known me in different incarnations, man. But from when I met you,
you do it
cosplayer, and
all,
then
man. You
just
gotta be a
knowing
man
you
of
through
many
the
hats.
socials, bruh, I love it, and I just wish you nothing but the best, man. And so until next time, when you have another project to drop, love to have you back on to promote it, talk about it, and just
Most
man, just keep
definitely,
on
man.
showing that light, man, because you're inspiring and showing others that that they can make it and make that happen. You're making Philly proud. You're making your family proud. I just fucking love it, man. And you're just a good soul, man. Like I said, when you see certain cats, you're like, what kind of cats they are, man. And you're a true cat. I appreciate you, brother. Before I let you go, man, hit them up because I know you got new fans that if they weren't aware of you before, they're gonna be a fan of you now. Tell them how they can reach out to you, brother.
You can reach me on Facebook, which is just Les Price, and Instagram, Toretto215, and TikTok, Action Figure 215.
My man, Les in the house. Your boy, Cool P. This is the NRW, where nerds rule the world. You can follow NRW at the NRW and at Release Wednesday. You can follow me at Strange Since 1977, Strange Since 1977, because I've been strange since that long, or at Temple Far East, and where we give you pop culture from the POC perspective at the Nerds of Color. Les Price, your boy, Cool P. That's it, man. We out of here. Boom.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Les Price, and I'm here to tell you I'm going to be on NRW to talk about my life as a professional stuntman and an executive security bodyguard for the stars. Looking forward to talking to you all this week. Hey, this is Les Price, And what it means to me to be a nerd of color is visibility. I love comics, I love movies, I love video games, and being able to be a part of that experience or show diversity or the people that have something they can look up to from a person of color's perspective means everything.